Hello everybody and welcome to DanMachi 3 episode 4 anime review. This week's episode was actually a little bit of a explanation episode. Not a lot really happened in the grand scheme. Until the very end there was a bit of like one or two sword swings, I can't remember exactly. But for the most part it was a lot of people standing around talking, which is fine every once in a while. And you know, I'm okay with it because I feel like we're getting into the meat of it starting about now. Like, this little first bit was introductory, and now we're getting to where the magic happens. So that's gonna be a good thing. But anyway, let's crack on with this week's episode, see how everything went down, and do this thing. So we begin with what at first seems like a nefarious monster plot, right, when in actuality it's just the Xenos making some food and drink for their guests, which I thought was kind of funny, if I'm being completely honest. It was a very, like, at first I was like, wait a minute, what's happening? And I was like, oh yeah, wait, it's nowhere near as evil as it looks. All the humans are sitting around looking very befuddled. Props goes to Mikoto, especially for just that face. Just the, how did I get here face? Like, what happened to get from point A to point B? It was very funny, I thought. They talk for a little bit. Lid tells them, hey, the equipment is from adventurers. It's basically the same as you looting the dead monster corpses, to which Belle was like, okay, yeah, no, I'm not gonna start that argument going. It's a little different, I think, but hey, that's not an argument for me to make, that's for the characters to make. A few monsters sitting off to the sides that don't like humans, they're like, these humans are bad, grr. Which I guess is good because it just goes to show that whether you're a human or a monster, you have absolute what am I trying to say here? There's every chance you may still be a dick, no matter what race you may be, and that's a good lesson for life. Doesn't matter what you are, you can still be a dick. Thumbs up, I guess. The Guild and Uranos have been helping them, as we know, giving them food. We knew this already. The Guild, when I say the Guild, I more mean the entity rather than the individual people. Like, I doubt Aina knows. Very few of those lower level people probably know, probably reserved for the higher ups to know that. They set this quest up again, obviously, and Lid says how he thought that things might change with you people. What does that mean? Who knows? I mean, we do know, but figure it out later, because why the heck not? I'm gonna do all the Hestia stuff a bit later on together, because it like cut to and from Hestia and Uranos throughout the episode. I think it makes more sense to do that whole bit together. Maybe that's just me. And also it reduces the amount of cuts I've got to do, so that's also good. We go to Asphi. She apparently was tailing Ikelos Familia to see what's up with them, but she lost them. They scattered from her. We then find out from Ikelos Familia that they were following Belle. They were going to get taken to the, you know, the village of the Xenos, but because they sensed Asphi, they were like, alright, scatter, we can't keep this up. So Asphi inadvertently, I guess, disrupted their plans to beat up Belle and friends. So that's a good thing. What it turns out these people are doing is they are smuggling monsters. Where are they smuggling monsters to? Outside, maybe? I don't know. Where would you even send the monsters? It's a real question. I have no answer. I'm just going to be frank. I have absolutely no answer with what they're going to do. It could be anything. Like, I genuinely don't actually remember. I remember they smuggled, but I don't remember the reason why or how. So that's exciting, at least. Back to the Xenos we go. Fells returns. Fells is the dude in the cloak, if you remember. He is a good friend, I guess, of the Xenos. He's helping out a lot. He's also the reason how Uranos and the Xenos are able to communicate a lot. He's like the he's like the go-between guy, basically. He's also a skeleton dude. Turns out he is like, they said like he was like some great sage a long time ago who was after eternal life. And that's why he's a skeleton dude. So he's probably been a long time alive. Alive a long time. I said that completely backwards there. But you got what I was trying to say. They talk about how he met the first Xenos, I think it was Lid, 15 or so years ago, and started this community up. The hidden village is a safe point, no monster spawn here, a lot of stuff going on. Lid is the leader of the Xenos, technically, but he's not the strongest, because they had a newcomer recently who was stronger, and he's just off doing his own thing. He's not with the group at the moment. I wonder if he's going to be relevant later on. What do the Xenos want from Fells is the question. I think Lily asks it, Lily Chi, as Lid calls her, which is kind of funny. What do they want? And what they want is to live on the surface because they have dreams and visions, I guess, of the surface of the sun. They learn how to speak quickly. Now, at first I was thinking they were implying that they were like humans in a past life. Get to a bit later on, that's not exactly what it is. I'll get to it when I get to it. But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, the dungeon is their mum, which I also found that was very funny. And they were like, yeah, we think our mum prepared this place for us. And I'm like, it's just a big building, isn't it? Or it's not a building, you know what I mean? There's a hole in the ground. What is the definition of a dungeon? That's a question. But yeah, no, they're just happy that Belle and friends accept them because that shows that other humans might accept them as well. And that's good for everyone as far as I'm concerned. Be more accepting, be less of a dick. It's, again, live messages from DanMachi. Who would have thought it? We'll now get to the Hestia and Uranos stuff that's going on. Uranos is explaining everything to Hestia because she's got to be in the know just as Belle and friends are. The Xenos, they're attacked by everyone, both human and monster. That's not great. Basically the same as humans these Xenos are. You know, they act the same, they've got the same empathy, the same, like, basically they're humans with the look a bit different. It's sort of how you should look at it as far as I'm concerned. The plan is to make Hestia Familia the bridge between the humans and the Xenos, but then Hestia's like, hey, if we get found out, we'll be ostracized and exiled too, just like the Xenos are. And he's like, I'm aware of that, and that's why only a few people are aware of this. And it's like, okay, who are those few people? And it's like, well, us two. Hermes knows, I'm pretty sure, and then the fourth god is Ganesha. He is Ganesha, don't you know? Turns out the Monsterphilia event, remember from season 1 where it was like basically like a monster event, I don't really know how to describe it, like a bullfight but with monsters, and they do more than just... You get what I'm saying. The Monsterphilia is basically to make people accepting, we'll go accepting, not immediately recoil in fear at the sight of monsters, because obviously, yeah, they look different, but they're kind of pleasant. I guess once you get over the initial, it's a monster, spooky, and you're like, actually, let's have a pleasant conversation, and they're like, yeah, let's do that. That's sort of the plan, I presume. Hestia also asks, hey, what the hell's going on? Why are the Xenos like popping up now of all times? And Uranos basically says, okay, you know reincarnation, right? So that happens to monsters too, which is why monsters, you know, some of the ones that learn to speak really quickly. They're getting memories back. I guess they learn to speak over many experiences with adventurers, I guess. Like they slowly, over many years, many lives, like pick up their words, I guess, and then learn to speak themselves. Is sort of how I see it happening. I could be wrong on that, but that's how I see it. Which is definitely interesting, this death and rebirth cycle thing of spirits going into the dungeon and then poop it back out. I think it's kind of interesting. Very interesting, in fact. Lid tells Belle, hey, we eat magic stones to get stronger too, so if a monster attacks you, don't hesitate. You hesitate, that's going to get you killed, which is true. And they're saying just because we're not like regular monsters, feel free to kill them, basically. We won't kill you, so you can feel free. If they attack you, they're bad, basically. And Belle's like, okay, so that's sort of gonna like assuage his concerns, because you remember last week, I think it was last week, he was being a bit, I'm not sure if I can fight this one, or was it 2 weeks ago? Whenever it was, he was a bit, I don't know if I can kill this monster because of Ween. But no, now it's like, okay, you've been given the go-ahead, basically, which is good. Ween, of course, wants to stay with Belle, and Lid is like, no, you're with us now. And she kicks up a bit of a fuss, like a child being left at preschool. I know, I was that child. Lid and the other one, the harpy, Ray, I think it was Ray, explained to her basically, hey, you got to stay with us because bad things are going to happen if you go back to the surface. So we'll take care of you. Don't worry, you'll see Belle again. Belle probably should have said something to her like, hey, don't worry. As they were in the distance, he shouted, don't worry, we'll see you again. Probably should have said that a bit quicker, Belle. Should have had a little talking to her about, hey, okay, we're going to be alright, you're going to be good, and I'll come pick you up later, basically. When you can join our familia properly, then I'll come pick you up, is essentially what he should have said, but no, he was just relatively quiet about it all. Everyone returns to Hestia, and they've all just got these baffled expressions on their faces. They're like, what is the dungeon? And she's just like, the dungeon is the dungeon. I don't know. You think I got all the answers? She doesn't have all the answers. Meanwhile, with the Xenos, right, so for some reason they've left Ween with the most this spider lady who is kind of a dick. She's one of the ones that hates all the humans, so she's like, you still want to see those humans? Blah, humans are bad. Ween hears what do you call it? A cry for help. It's from a siren. It's one of another Xenos. So they're like, okay, we're gonna go save the Xenos. They get their walkie-talkie thing. It's just a gem, but I'm gonna call it a walkie-talkie. And they're like, we're gonna go save someone. Gross, I think, answers, and I think he's the one that was kind of a dick, but he obviously cares about his people. He was like, hey, wait for reinforcements. And they're like, we can't wait for reinforcements. We got to get her now. They find the siren. She's like strung up and is bloody, and I think she just dies on the spot basically, and they're like, well, that's pretty bad. Turns out it was a trap by Icolos Familia and that smug dickhead with his sunglasses. So yeah, another guy gets killed for like, they like cross swords and one of them dies, which is bad. He was wearing all that armor, you'd think he wouldn't die in one hit, but hey, I'm not gonna, whatever. So yeah, all of Icolos Familia are there, presumably to do bad things and catch all the monsters for smuggling, and they're just assholes. I'm not a fan of old Icolos Familia, but you're not supposed to be, and that's where we left off this week, with Icolos Familia being the bad guys. I guess I'd have more insight than that. They are bad people and they're there to cause some mischief, to kidnap the Xenos basically. So that's less than good on their part. Yeah, this episode itself, as I said, apart from the end, it was very explanation-y, but that's not the word. Explanatory. I'm going to apologize. I'm a little bit out of it. Got a bad throat, not 100%, which is why I'm a bit all over the place, but I'm doing the best I can. But yeah, no, very explanatory episode this week with, hey, it had to happen when you introduce talking monsters out of practically nowhere. It's good that you explain it every so often, and now this is good. From now on, though, it seems like we're going to be out of explanation territory, and more into let's get the ball moving and do some fighting territory, which is good. That's going to be the measuring stick, because, as I said in episode 1, I think, the opening doesn't fill me with hope that it's going to be super well animated, but maybe that's not a great what's the word? Indication, I guess, of what's to come. So I'm going to keep my hopes high, especially for those two fights that I want them two to be good. If you've read the light novels, you know the ones I'm on about. But what was my favourite part of this week's episode, though? Let's check it out. It was a hard pick because there wasn't too much. I initially considered just all the funny faces people were making in response to, like, we're talking to monsters, this is wild. But no, I decided to give something a bit more serious instead. It's Liz telling Belle, hey, you can kill monsters, and don't feel bad about it. Such a small thing, but, Belle's not an idiot, right? And naivete will get you killed, so for Liz to be the smart one and be like, hey, it's cool. That's pretty good. I'm glad with that. That's good. Hopefully, it went quite quick this episode, despite how not a lot really happened. So I'm hoping that things will pick up. I'm sure things will pick up from here. I'm excited. I'm enjoying this. It's all good, so to speak. It's all good. But Icolos Familia, not all good. They all bad. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing and stuff. For more reviews, that would help me out a lot. I will see you next week for another episode of this. Take care, and bye guys.